Good morning. I am going to share with you how I start a Kawandi piece on my long arm. I'm gonna take the channel locks off, or disengage the belt, whatever. I have some double gauze that I picked up at Joann Fabrics. I like double gauze for the back of my Kawandi. I've picked up a big piece, and I think this is 2 yards, so it's about 70 inches maybe by about 60. It was longer or wider, and I'm not going to measure it out right now. And I've been trying to figure out which batting do I want to use, because you know the wool cotton blend is my favorite, but I don't have a roll of that, and I actually don't have anything that's not scraps right now. And I have regular wool, and I have a Quilter's Dream cotton, and I have Warm and Natural. None of those are really my favorite to hand stitch through for Kawandi. I'm sure the wool would be fine, but it's a little bit fluffier than I want. But I remembered that I have this silk batting that I've been hoarding since 2012. It's supposed to go with a silk quilt top that I have that I am not ready to quilt yet. I've been waiting since 2012 to quilt that one to be good enough. That'll come this summer, don't worry. But I have been hoarding this silk throw like it is the silk throw size batting, like it's precious, and it's not. And I just remembered this morning while I was talking to Kate Ward that I have it, and that Kawandi is my happy place now. So maybe I should just use this very special batting for this project. Because it's not like I can't go and buy another silk batting later today. So I'm really, really excited to finally open this up. And in case you were wondering, after, what year is it? After 12 years, this batting is fine. It smells good, it's clean. It's been sitting in my basement in its original packaging since I moved into this house. I bought it like maybe 5 houses ago. I don't know, we move a lot. So I'm going to lay it on top of my Kawandi piece, my backing. And I'm going to make sure that I have a couple inches on the sides, on either side. So I'm going to cut some of this off, which means I'm going to have a lovely scrap of silk batting to make some small pieces. I've never used the silk, obviously. I think it would make just a gorgeous, I think the hand's going to be really nice. And it's something special, and my Kawandi are special to me, so that's good. And I mean, I have a lot of other work that I should be working on today, but I'm getting ready to travel. We're going to go away for the weekend this weekend, and I love nothing better than having a handwork project with me. So that's what this Kawandi is going to be, or I should say Kawandi style quilt, because that's what I do. So I've got this. It's not quite perfect, but that's okay. Nothing on this project is going to be perfect. So, you know, I like to play with color on my pieces. And that's what I'm going to do with this one. I have this Free Spirit, this design roll from Free Spirit that was 5-inch strips of K Fawcett stuff. CJ's in the batting. I'm going to just fold this up a little bit. I've got an assistant here who wants to play. So they're 5-inch by width of fabric, which is very nice. And you can see the shot cotton's nice and fine. You can see the light right through it. That doesn't mean that it's not that bad. The light is pretty dramatic. That's a neat effect. I am going to place these on my backing, kind of one at a time. I am going to cut them in half because they're the full width right now, and I don't think I want the full width to show. So I'm going to cut that. And usually when you baste on the long arm, when you baste a top, Miss Girl, come say hi. Say hello, everybody. Here's the studio assistant, here to wreck everything. Usually when basting, we're going to do the top and the back and the batting all together to hold it together. For Kawandi, I do it with the back and the batting, and then I usually, when I do this, I put a piece on, and I'm going to put them in kind of a color arrangement to help guide me generate a color flow as I'm putting the new scraps on. And this will also hold the backing together. So, you know, when you quilt from the outside in, you chase the bulk into the middle and you get things shift. If I strategically place these pieces around the top, I won't get quite as much shifting, which is good for me. It's not as controlled as usual quilting, but it's a little bit more controlled than my usual kind of loosey-goosey Kawandi style. So I'm just going to cut all of these in half and let them all be the same size. These colors are just so nice. The Free Spirit Kaffe shot cottons are glorious to work with. They're really thin. They feel almost like a lawn, but in a finished quilt, they're fine. There's no real problem with them fighting with other fabric weights. And I will mix these with everything in my stash. And I think the design roll had a lot more colors, but I just pulled out the warm colors because I am still stuck in my raspberry and peach craze. So I'm going to use those colors. Let's see. And my assistant's pulling on my batting again, which is distracting me. Thank you, Miss Dog. May I? Thank you. Don't pull on that. Don't be a pip. Where's your Nana? You gonna go play with your Nana? Oh, and there's 3 purples here. So I am just gonna... Okay. Now she's pulling the scraps and off the bar and dragging them away. Always fun with a puppy in the studio. All right. Part of the reason I don't do much client quilting anymore is the dog. I don't want to get dog hair on people's stuff. And the dog is allowed in here. So the solution was nobody else's stuff allowed in here. And when I do a client quilt, I shut the door and I mop everything before I start so that there's no risk of contamination. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start laying the fabrics out. And I kind of, like, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage here because I can't get the full length without rolling the stuff up. But I'm going to just trust in my process and smooth out my batting. And let's see. I am going to pause this and I am going to change my thread color in my bobbin so it matches my backing. That way you won't be able to tell that I basted it, hopefully, and I don't have to pull it out. So let me pause for that. I have to go dig through my thread boxes. Okay, so I've got my machines ready to stitch. I've got my fabrics kind of sorted in a color arrangement that's pleasing to me. I like how it kind of moves through the colors. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stack them up in order, because what happens when I'm working is that things move around and I forget, and then when I'm done, I'm irritated by my lack of sticking to the original plan. So I'm hanging on to the off-cut bits. I'm just going to set these guys aside. And I am going to put my first piece up here. I don't want it too close to either of the edges, really, because I don't want to have a big bar of color right at the front bit. So I'm going to bring my long arm over. And I'm going to use a basting stitch. So it's going to stitch once every ½ inch. And the double gauze is really stretchy. So I don't want to stretch it out. I don't want to have all of my fabric spring back. Okay. All right, so that's the first one on. And now, as I said, the trick is going to be to try to get them evenly layered across the top. I'm going to advance my top a little bit and come around behind the camera. Oh, I always forget this part. The red snappers don't fit if the needle's there. I've been told I need to upgrade to the magnets. But I haven't done that yet. All right. Whoop. Let's lock this bar in place. Okay, so we come up a little bit, and now I can see the whole batting. I think the batting is about the right length. So I can see, I'm kind of going in the right direction. And if things don't work out exactly as planned, that's actually kind of the way the Kawandi works for me every time, so it's not the end of the world. I do want all the bars to come down horizontal across the quilt and be kind of stacked unevenly. This is kind of my improv Kawandi process. A little bit more planning than usual, but not a lot of planning. So I'm just going to keep doing this to all of them. Okay. And you can, I don't know, you probably can't see. I kind of sewed off the edge over here a little bit. Doesn't matter. That'll be coming out later anyways. Oh, right. Okay, so I'm using a basting stitch so they'll be easy to take out. This is not what I did last time. Last time I used a regular stitch so that they could stay in, but the basting stitch will have to come out. Had too much coffee, so all of the thinking is not happening at the same time. So those two are basting. I'm going to switch to regular stitches and then do the rest so that I can leave them in. Actually, that'll be good. We can see the difference. Okay. So I'm staggering them unevenly. I want them to shift around. Can I get all the way to here? Yeah. After taking the winter off from long arming, it kind of feels different to be in my studio. Perfect. A lot of times my machine will break thread going from right to left like that, and it didn't this time, which is delightful. Oop. All right, keep advancing. I already am very excited about the colors that are showing. Okay. And again, I'm trying not to stretch the double gauze out too much, but I do want it to be stable. So we're going to put this piece here and maybe move it more towards the middle so that things are uneven and shifty. I'm so excited about this idea. Part of the thing with Kawandi is, especially with a big one, if I have an overarching idea, it's going to be quite a while before we see if the idea was a good one. So one thing that I'm going to do, and I would encourage you to do if you want to try to explore, is take some notes. Take notes at the beginning, take notes at the end, because if you're like me, when you get halfway through, your ideas are going to change, and you're not going to remember what the first idea was, and you're never going to know if it worked or not. So leave yourself a breadcrumb trail so that you can tell what you were trying to do and you can see if it actually happened. All right, and I'm close to the end now. I can see that I've only got like one more wrap and this is the end of the batting. If we need more batting, I'll use the scrap that I cut off to piece in at the end. But I only have this one and then two more, so I think we're good. and my thread started to shred because I was going left to right, because I praised the machine and the machine said, all right, I don't have to do that. So we're just going to rethread it. And then start again. And I'll go slower with my left to right stitches this time. Or right to left. Other way. Okay, all good. When I go from right to left, it causes some needle flex and messes up the top thread, only in a straight line. But even if the top thread shreds a little bit, it won't matter because that part's going to get covered up. Oh, good. And the batting is just the right size. Perfection. And then I'm going to put this guy down here. Well, let's see. So it would be here and this guy here. So there's going to be, let's see, how do we want to handle that? Because this is the end, so I need to be up a little bit more. And maybe what I'll do to make things really visually interesting is cut this orange one shorter. So no overlap. I don't really want the bars to overlap, but that one's shorter and it's over here, and this one's a little longer and it's there, and then I've got enough to pull this around the batting. Over there. That should be just right. So we'll base these two guys. Or just stitch them down. Okay. The thread started to shred and it made me jump, which is pretty funny. So one more. Fasten the orange one down, and then I will be ready to do the next step. Okay, we are ready to make some magic. So that's the end of the long arms part of this process. Take it and stick it over here. The only other thing that's going to happen is I am going to trim off my batting. Can we see? Yeah, okay. To leave myself an inch and a half of backing exposed to do my turnover. You can see it's not super straight. I don't think I care. I may trim it up. I'll probably clean it up a little bit later at the long arm or at the cutting table. So the next step is going to be to gather up my scraps, which may take me a little bit. And I think I probably will Depending on how the day goes, I probably will put this on the sewing machine, my domestic machine, and start the first round of stitches. Like, I do like to get the first round on and then do the rest all by on the machine, and then do the rest by hand, especially on something big. But like, this is going to be, we're going to be flying tomorrow, and I like to have something on my legs because sometimes I'm so cold on the airplane, and having the Kawandi sit on my legs and just have the hand stitching while I listen to my audiobook is just bliss. So thanks for watching. If you are interested in being a little bit more creative with your Kawandi, give my stuff a try. I have classes on doing it by hand and on machine available at gothamquilts.com. Bye.